I think ultimately I got exactly where I wanted to be because I got my questions answered. I built up my local network and I secured a job that makes such sense in terms of my career trajectory.
I couldn't do what I'm doing now, and I couldn't do what I've been on for the last 15 years if not for the Master's of Health Administration program.
And I think I would also um, stress that trying new opportunities, leaving the profession, moving to a new city, definitely scary, but worthwhile to invest in yourself. And if you're thinking about it, you might as well apply and give yourself a chance.
So, my name's Kate Mason. I am a registered nurse working here in Halifax. I am a certified hospice palliative care nurse, so I have specialized in palliative care for my career. I completed my training at the University of Toronto, and I'm a relatively new nurse. I've been working for about 4 years in palliative care.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Rogers. I have a Bachelor of Sciences in Nursing from Western University. I worked as a bedside nurse on a medicine unit for about 2 years and then transitioned to a patient care facilitator role for about a year within the same unit.
Hello, I'm Erin Leith, and I took the Masters of Health Administration way back in between 2005 and 2007. I am currently the Director of Quality Improvement and Safety for Central Zone with the Nova Scotia Health Authority.
My start point in coming to the MHA was just a growing curiosity, I think. So, my first experience in healthcare was as a patient, and that led to lots of questions and an interest for me. And that's what led me to pursue a degree in nursing. And I found as a nurse, I was still having a lot of these questions. I was still curious about what was going on around me. And I felt that as I gathered a better sense of sort of what the clinical world looked like, I had all these questions about what sort of the background and that sort of business side of healthcare looked like, and the broader system that I was working in. And so that's what led me to apply for the MHA. I kind of came into it with lots of questions and curiosity and hoping to find some answers to what I was noticing as both a patient and as a nurse.
I decided to consider graduate studies after my nursing profession. Really, I always kind of thought about doing it during school. I knew that I wanted to pursue leadership, and I know that I had an interest in policy, but having bedside experience and coordination experience, I really became more passionate about the issues within our healthcare system. And I knew that I could use my nursing knowledge to better some of those issues. And specifically, I was very interested in healthcare law as well. So I found that I needed to pursue some type of graduate education, and that led me to the MHA. I am a MHA and JD student, so I'm currently in my first year of the MHA, so 3 more years to go after this, but very much enjoying the program so far.
I think that I always somewhat knew that I wanted to contribute to healthcare at a different level. I much enjoyed my experience in nursing school, and I enjoyed my experience in working in oncology and mental health and addictions. But I also knew that I wanted to contribute at a policy planning and system improvement level. And I knew that very early on, even if I didn't know how to do it. So yeah, that's really why I decided to do it, and it's really helped me on my path to becoming a health leader who's able to do precisely what I thought I wanted to do in my early days of nursing, which is to contribute at policy and system improvement level.
Looking at different programs, Dell's program really felt like the right fit for me because I am currently working in Nova Scotia. I intend to stay in Nova Scotia, and I felt like the opportunity to study right here and have connections and build my network right here in Nova Scotia was really the best fit for me.
One of the things I love about the MHA is the variety of backgrounds that everyone has. We have students from political science degrees, we have students from different parts of the world, and everyone's able to contribute their perspective in our discussion. And I really don't think that you'd get that in an online experience. And with it being so small, you do really get to know everyone. You have the same courses with everyone, you work together in groups, and so you do develop this collegial nature and support that I think is really valuable.
this was the first time I was in a small cohort program. So for anyone who has done a nursing program, they're usually quite large and you don't necessarily get to know everyone. So some of those relationships and networks that I built just within the class, I know are going to serve me well throughout my career. And I know I'm going to have all these wonderful people to lean on and to talk to as we all navigate this new career change that we're about to start. But in terms of being in the classroom, I personally love being in the classroom. I love the interactive aspect. I find it a lot easier to focus. I also find I get a lot more out of the classwork when you can have that sort of opportunity to have one-on-one questions with the professor, when you and your classmates have the opportunity to bounce ideas off of each other or build on each other's comments. And I think if you were to ask some of my classmates, they were glad to have a few of us in the program that were nurses because we could bring the nursing voice and that frontline experience into examples or into discussion.
So what is the advantage of being in a small in-person setting? For me, it's everything. I know some people are incredibly self-driven learners. They can do it in their own time. I respect that greatly. I thrive off of relationships and in-person learning, and learning not only from the brilliant faculty, of which they are, and who are passionate and committed to all of the students. I also benefited from learning really in close, building a bond with my cohort of students who were with me, and learning from them and learning with them. But I felt so supported. I never felt at risk, I suppose. I never felt at risk during the program that I wasn't going to be successful, because I think there was such a low ratio that I felt supported in doing the program. And so, and if I was struggling on a particular issue or with a particular concept, I felt that the faculty were available to support, as well as I definitely had my cohort of peers who could help me sort of think through that as well as my residency, and my mentor in the residency was just brilliant and generous.
At first I hesitated to apply because I knew there was a necessary test that you had to complete as part of your application. And so that's the GMAT, or the General Management Aptitude Test. I found I did have to carve out enough time in my schedule while working full time in order to study for that and pay for that. So that did sort of mean that it was a more lengthy application process for me, I guess. It wasn't something that I could kind of decide on doing and submit my application right away. Other than that, I found the application process very straightforward.
In regards to the application process, looking back, I wish that I had reached out to some professors a little bit earlier. Even though it was only 3 years since I graduated, I did notice kind of more difficulty reaching out to them and reminding them who I am and what I'm doing. And obviously they're very, very busy. And so I feel like I would have given them a little bit more time. They were still more than willing to help me. We were able to schedule some Zoom calls, things like that. But looking back, I would have given myself more time to have those conversations with them. But otherwise, I found the application process quite clear.
The biggest hurdle that I personally experienced was that I had a full-time permanent nursing position at what is now Nova Scotia Health Authority. And I had to make a decision for myself to, do I want to do school full-time, part-time, or continue working for a number of years. And I know a lot of nurses, like my peers and friends, certainly felt that they needed to go through, have a substantive number of years doing frontline nursing before they would consider doing a master's program. And while I respect that, and that works for many people, I really felt that if I did, 5 or 10 or 15 years of frontline nursing, I still knew I wanted to contribute at a systems planning level. And so really I had to sort of reconcile with that and make a personal judgment that actually I valued greatly going back full time. And then I was able to continue to work part time on a casual basis as a nurse in the entire while through the master's program, because of the way that it is set up. It is extremely functional, I find, for working individuals. And so I was able to continue to do shift work while I did the master's program full time.
The major challenges I faced in completing the program were primarily related to scheduling conflicts. So where it is a condensed program at 16 months, my intention was to continue working a 0.5 position throughout the program so that I could help pay for the program, and also just didn't feel right leaving nursing during a nursing crisis. So I found it challenging to maintain that 0.5 position when the class schedule was such that there was one course every single day right in the middle of the day. So for example, my first winter semester was one class every day from 11:30 to 2:30, which meant I couldn't do a night shift or a day shift from Monday to Friday, which made it pretty much impossible to continue working. So I did end up dropping a course that semester and picked it up this winter. So it extended the time that it took me to complete the program compared to everyone else in my cohort, but ultimately we're still graduating together. So that was challenging logistically. So it's just something to keep in mind if you're going to continue working during the program. It's a lot of work, and there are some logistics to figure out. But I did find that when I brought my concerns up, there was helpful dialogue, and there were helpful solutions offered within sort of the confines of what could be offered. That would be my main challenge to note.
And I think I would also stress that trying new opportunities, leaving the profession, moving to a new city, definitely scary, but worthwhile to invest in yourself. And if you're thinking about it, you might as well apply and give yourself a chance.
I think ultimately I got exactly where I wanted to be because I got my questions answered. I built up my local network, and I secured a job that makes such sense in terms of my career trajectory. So, like I said before, I'm a palliative care nurse by trade, and I've now secured a job as a health services manager for hospice and palliative care. So just sort of that perfect stepping stone into transitioning towards leadership and management, and something that I don't think I would have had the confidence to pursue, or probably would not have made it to the final two or the final three if I didn't have this degree to kind of prove my worth and prove my skills.
If ever you thought you wanted to be in healthcare to make a difference at a systems planning level, now is that time, because in the last number of decades, it's been making do with what is or less. And now we're at a time where there's investment finally being made into our public healthcare system. And so it's incredibly, for me, a very incredible time for supporting system improvement and transformation, and doing that with my colleagues. And we'll need more and more capable, bright young minds to come in and help do that really extraordinarily in the decades to come.